Hello and welcome, and well, just after a mere week after the ending of the Apex Racing League GT3 trophy, we're back in the studios for a brand new season, and this week it is the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup. Sam, welcome along. It's going to be a cracker. Now, we saw drama in abundance last season covering the GT3s, including an overall win by a Pro-Am driver, not well in a race, but also for the overall championship. Surely we cannot have history repeat itself. Surely? I mean, I don't know if I can stand it. It all came down to the last lap of the last race, but the last half of the last lap of the race. Fight for the overall championship between the leading pro and the leading Pro-Am. And Mitchell Drysdale, what a drive from him. Porsche Cup, I mean, surely we can't see the same again. Can we?
It's unlikely. I think it was the first time that's ever happened as a Pro-Am driver to win the title, or an amateur driver to win the overall title. And so it was a complete upset on that occasion, but seeing could lightning strike twice? Unlikely, I think. But we've got a very competitive field. We've got a 60-car field for this championship, and I don't think I've been so looking forward to a championship as much as this, honestly, Tim. GT3 is fun, but I think this one, with everything about it, with the quality of drivers, with the formats we've got, and of course the schedule that we've got as well, I think it should be an absolute excellent one.
There's no balance of performance to worry about with the different car makes and manufacturers, so yeah, it's a car for the absolute purists that punishes any mistakes with no ABS, no traction control whatsoever. And I think you've put together a cracking schedule kicking off tonight with Brands Hatch, Sam.
I wish I could take credit, really, but it's just the official series schedule.
Well,
but it's a very
I
good
tried to pass them on to you, so I'll try.
One of the best sorts of lineups of 9 circuits, because I think we've got a wide variety of sorts of these club circuits. We go to Brands Hatch and then VIR to start out the championship. But then we've also got much bigger circuits. We've got Monza in there, we've got Le Mans, and we've got Nordschleife as well, or the 24-hour Nürburgring layout. And of course Spa in there as well.
You could have really, Spa. It wouldn't be Porsche Cup without a bit of Spa thrown into the mix, Sam.
Exactly. So it was a really nice variety of circuits for the drivers to manage, and yeah, I can't really imagine many better.
It's interesting you're saying about VR, Virginia International Raceway there, Sam, because you said it as a club circuit, which I thought, thinking to myself, well, it isn't. It's a small club circuit. It's quite a large circuit, especially the full layout. But actually, you're right. It's just a national circuit ultimately, with a few extra. Oh no, IMSA do go there as well. But even so, but no more Oak Tree.
No more Oak Tree.
It's gone.
It's going to have a very different look. Actually, check out the Apex Racing Academy Formula 4 Championship tomorrow to see the new VAR in action for one of the first times in Apex Racing TV. But yeah, Brands Hatch for this opening round, Tim, and I think you had a look at it earlier on.
I did. I took a little bit of an up close and personal look at Brands Hatch. Let's take a look at that now. Brands Hatch, one of the most synonymous British racing circuits, came along in 1950. We then had this Grand Prix layout extension built in 1960, and it's that layout that we will be racing on this evening. And let's get stuck into a lap, of course. Down the Brabham Straight, start finish straight, although not really straight per se. And then we get instantly into turn 1 here, of course, Paddock Hill Bend. Bit of a tricky corner for our drivers, especially in the Porsche Cup with no ABS, no traction control, bit of a bump on entry, and also a bit of a weird sort of, the circuit just drops down. It's a roller coaster ride before you arrive up at Druids turn 2. Big overtaking opportunity up the inside there. But maybe if someone gets it wrong, doesn't get the best run off. Graham Hill Bend, turn 3, take plenty of curb on the entry, and then on the exit especially, expect to see drivers kicking up the dust. Then it's the short run up to 30, so you just keep going just past that round there if you want to do the Indy layout. Obviously we're not today. And then the big long run down the back stretch, Pilgrim's Drop, drops down underneath the bridge, and then into 5. Is someone going to be brave enough to send it up the inside here? That's the big question. It's good old Hawthorne Bend. And then we've got the Derek Minter Straight. Nice little name for you. We've got Westfield, tricky corner, very easy to run right off here. into this big gravel trap around there. Expect a few drivers to end up in the kitty litter. And then it's just a corner after corner. You've got Dingledale, then Sheens, another really, really tricky corner. Of course, that was remodeled in around about the 90s. Used to be more of a chicane back then. Before we head into Stirling's, again, you can make a pass up the inside there, but it is really, really tricky. And again, there's a bit of gravel on the outside there. There's going to be drivers running wide there, which is going to maybe allow someone, if they're brave enough, to sneak up the inside into Clark Curve. And then it's just all about that run down the start-finish straight. And maybe, just maybe, someone will have a go into one who's going to be brave. Lots of overtaking opportunities around here. It's tough, but you know full well that these drivers can do it if anyone can. Well, classic circuit, no question about it. As late great Murray Walker said, you know what? I'll get my words. I'm trying to quote it specifically. I am. Yeah, absolutely nailing this one to a T. It was along the lines of, I don't get why they put as much money into Silverstone to create a world-class circuit when we already have one here in the form of Brands Hatch. Can't really argue with that one whatsoever. Whenever you drive around here, it's great to drive.
It's impressive how popular it is on iRacing because it's a circuit which isn't designed, of course, for modern racing. It is such an old circuit, not fantastic for, not the easiest to overtake on. It's a very tricky circuit, and so it could have easily fallen in the way of maybe like an Alton Park or even like a Donington. I'd argue Donington perhaps is an easier circuit, and yet because it's got such a good flow, because it's got the elevation change, because it's so satisfying to drive, as you say, it's really top for a lot of drivers. I remember when it used to be part of the World Championship GT3 series in its opening season, along with these Spas, Monzas, Silverstone, super popular circuits, and then you got Brands Hatch. So it is a fan favourite, and I'm really pleased that we're visiting it.
Do you know what the first ever race was around Donington Park?
I know, I'd guess like Formula 2 or something? No,
completely wrong. Completely and utterly wrong, Sam. It was a match play event between cross-country runners and cyclists. They took each other on. Do you know who won?
Cyclists?
No, cross-country runners.
Well, I'm reading what's there.
Completely and utterly useless fact there that's completely enriched your lives at home, most certainly. So I think a good time now to talk about the format of what we've got planned this season with, well, the heat format. It's a classic, Sam. It brings drama and excitement in absolute abundance. Talk us through it.
Yes, it's the elimination heat format, making its return. Of course, we used it a few months back for the F3 Championship, and we've also got, of course, used it in the Formula 4 Championship as well. Basically, a 15-minute qualifying session, and then that leads into 2 heats. The odd drivers from qualifying going into Heat 1, the even drivers go into Heat 2. And for this season, because we've got such a big grid, 60 cars, the top 12 from each heat go straight through into the A final. The rest of the drivers go to a B final, and the top 6 from that B final also get through to the A final. It means that we should have 30 drivers come the A final. You get points for your heat, and you get points for your overall position as well in the A and B finals. So it's all about that cut-off points. It's a little bit like F1 qualifying, but for all the races bar the final, basically. So it's that elimination element where you're not necessarily paying a whole lot of attention. Most of our attention won't necessarily be on the lead, it'll be on 12th position, basically, because that's what really counts. Getting through your heat is absolutely essential to score good points. Now, killer question, Sam. Obviously we've got the 3 different divisions: Pro, Pro-Am, and then Am. How do you think the AMs are going to fare? Do you think we're going to see any automatic qualifiers straight out for heats? Obviously, that would then mean them progressing straight into the final for the AMs. It'd be really impressive for an AM to get into the A final at all, let alone get through the heats. I seriously doubt that will happen. But even to get through the B final would be a huge effort. I think we've got out to the 60 drivers, 18 AMs. And so you've got to think that means that by logic, none of the AMs should be finishing in the top 40. You've got to finish in the top 30 in order to get into the A final. So that if an AM can get into the A final, that would be huge points for them, and they'll be looking to get that maybe once or twice per season. Is for the pros, where there's going to be a lot of pressure. There's going to be a lot of pro AMs who are going to be getting into the A final, and a lot of pros will miss out not just on mistakes but also just a lack of pace. So that's going to be really tight between the pro AMs and the pros to see who manages to survive in those heats and B final.
It's going to be fascinating to see. Make sure you tune in all season long here. Myself and Sam be sat on the sofas, well, trying to pick on what is going to be an amazing season, no question asked. Now, Sam, past champions, we've had a few. A few are back as well, for good measure too.
Yeah, it's a bit of history. It's nice when we get to season 7 of Championship. It's season 7 now of F3, season 5 of GT3 Trophy, but technically there were 2 GT trophies before that, and you've got the Pro and Am season, so it's all very iffy. But basically, there's the past champions. Nick Madsen, he is back, season 1 champion. He was our first ever champion in the Porsche Cup. Then we've got Kamil Grabowski, Pascal Costa is back for this season. Bo Alberts, World Championship driver, of course. Roger Christensen and Michael Yanni as well, another extremely top level driver. So it's cool to see a couple of those drivers to see what they've achieved since. Well, the Porsche Cup Championship. It shows how impressive or how tricky it is to win this thing.
It is, and equally by winning it, what that can carry you forward onto as well. As you said, you know, some big names on there. Some, you know, for in the world of sim racing, some names that people will recognise on that list were former champions.
Absolutely. So yeah, going to be quite coveted to add your name to that season 7 list right there. And well, it means, Tim, it's this point of the season.
It is.
Where last season we were 0 out of 3 when it came to guessing who's going to win the title. I'll let you go first. Who are your picks for this season? We've got 60 drivers, 20 drivers in each class. It's really tricky for us.
We're going to try and pick 3 of them here, but undoubtedly badly wrong and get it horrifically wrong. And for myself anyway, I'm going to apologise to the drivers I'm about to mention and pick out now, because hopefully the season doesn't end in the curse of the commentators, shall we say. So let's start with Pro Sam. I've gone for the second highest iRacing driver at this moment in time, because you never back the favourite, folks. You never bet on the favourite. Mario Velgert of Impulse Racing is who I have gone for.
That's absolutely fair enough. I do question the logic slightly, but I think it's a percentage. It's a percentage choice. New driver to Apex Racing League, so we are not sure about his competitiveness, but it could well turn out well. I'm going to go for Matthias Berg. I'm really wanting to see some of the original drivers. Matthias and Pascal Costa, I believe, as well, both took part in season 1 of Porsche Cup. That was like 2 years ago that they took part, 2.5 years ago even. To see Matthias back once again, that's awesome. He's got only about the 10th highest iRating, but I hope that he can be up there this season. It'd be great to see one of the originals to get a title win.
Pro-Am? Should we get stuck into Pro-Am?
Yes.
Now. I have, unfortunately, a little bit of... I will be in a lot of trouble from their team manager if I do not pick one of the 2 drivers from Effect Simulation in Pro-Am, and also a little bit of a clue then for Am. Good evening, Mr. Busby. I've gone for Max Furtwängler. That's who I have gone for, and I've had a little sneak peek, Sam, into. I actually made that choice beforehand, but having a little sneak peek into practice, he's going incredibly quickly right now, I can tell you.
He's doing very well, so I think that could actually be quite a good call. Affects Effect Racing with a couple of teams as well, 4 drivers being squatters, so very strong team for this season. I've gone for another OG, Salvatore Lane. Took part in the first 2 Porsche Cup Championships, hasn't taken part in the last 2 years, but he's back again.
He is.
So I'm rooting for Lane.
Back with a vengeance.
And North Sim Racing, we see their livery very often, of course, in the GT3 Trophy Championship, and Salvatore Piazzese won the title in that one.
So a bit of pedigree.
Exactly.
Bit of form carrying over for that team.
So they should be very strong. Salvatore, one of the highest iRatings in that pro. But generally, the Pro-Am, I think, going to be the tightest championship. Everyone's within about between 3,000 and 4,500 iRatings. So really compact iRating there. Anyone in that category has got a chance of winning.
Definitely. Now, across into Am, again, as I mentioned, slight allegiance that I've got to follow. I've gone for Tim Darracott. My other choice was Nathan Willoughby, who in some ways is stronger, but of course Tim, I've commentated on, actually both him and Nathan for quite a few years now, probably dare to say, you know, far longer than I want to admit to. But of course, I've got to go for a fellow Tim, haven't I? It's like the law, you know, you've got to go for your namesake.
I think that's, again, questionable logic to pick your champion, but there you
never know.
Hilda Wilhelmsen is my pick. Hilda took part in the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship last year and was just solid. He was a solid driver, didn't make many mistakes in the LMP1 category. Have confidence he's going to commit to all the rounds this season. And so, I will go for the Icelandic driver to win the title for this season. I think it would be the first Icelandic person to win a title.
Yeah, we've had plenty of Scandies, normally Norwegian.
I will go for Hill on that one. And for the team, we were really unsure with the team. I went for ATRS. I don't know why I said that really, but they've got some very strong drivers, so we will see if...
Sam, as we know, it's all about the consistency. It's not necessarily finishing at the top all the time. It's ensuring that, you know, both your drivers finish consistently well inside the points. And that's where we've seen, you know, numerous times here at Apex Racing TV. It makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And we have names that, you know, come up through the rankings that you think, well, they haven't really done much this season, but they've just been there constantly, like 4th, 5th, that's 6th, that sort of region.
Yeah, it'll be that consistent. I mean, dare I say, Frederick Schwartz, who ended up the pro champion in the GT3 trophy. 2 race wins for him, first race and the last race, but besides that, it was sort of trying to get those consistent results in the middle, and that can be enough. But I would say for this format, if you can get a race win, particularly in round 1, that's going to give you a lot of confidence. No reverse grids to mess up this one. Going to be a tricky to overtake circuit as well. So I think this is the most important qualifying of the season.
I swear I disagree with you. I disagree with you on this tricky to overtake circuit side. I think one thing I've learned within sim racing, especially in the Apex leagues, that when it's tricky to overtake, the drivers just don't seem to get the memo. And quite often we have some of the best racing pound for pound against circuits that, you know, are really easy to overtake. Like at Le Mans, for example, straight, hard braking zone, up the inside, done. Long straight, hard braker zone, up the inside, job done. You know, keep rinsing and repeating that. Road America being the same as well. But here, it's always, you know, that, like you say, a bit more challenging, but they find a way past, and there's a bit of door rubbing as well. It's great action always to witness.
I hope you're right. And with 30 odd cars on track for all the races tonight, we're not going to be short in action. I think we should probably jump into it and see who's doing well in qualifying. Well,
definitely qualifying well, just getting underway right now. We're going to head to a quick ad break. We will see you on the other side very shortly. Goodbye.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Keep trying. Welcome back, and it is qualifying time. The anticipation starting to build. We're going to find out who's going to be claiming the first pole position of the season. Sam. This is going to be a bit of a lap of discovery, isn't it, for some of our drivers? And with everyone out on track as well, it makes it all the more challenging, especially in a tight, narrow, short circuit here. Brands Hatch, only 2.5 miles long. Well, just short of 2.5 miles to be precise, in fact.
Yeah, we've got a very strange format for qualifying, where a little bit of in this case, a benefit of the iRacing Heat format is that the drivers are split into 2 groups for qualifying. Now, these aren't necessarily the groups that they're going to be come the heats, but for now, we've got 30 cars in one group, basically, who can all see and interact with one another, and then we've got another group of 30 cars who can all see and react with one another. So the track is only limited to 30 cars, which means that they can find some space, but you're right, it's not a long circuit this, and so it is still fairly crowded. The man who jumps to my attention is Howdus Yatortis, who, I will just say, Lewis Ward, who is one of the producers for tonight, picked Howdus to win the Pro-Am title. I think that's looking very good right now. Howdus very strong in the GT3 trophy last season, I think finished 4th in that title. He's up there in 2nd place and 4th.
And Sam, under a 10th between himself and Pascal Costa, who's currently holding pole for Impulse Racing. Does mean as well that Yatortis, as things stand at the moment, will start on pole for Heat 2. Of course, all the drivers who qualified in a odd grid number position as things stand at the moment, they will head across into Heat 1. Those who qualified in an even slot, they will head across into Heat 2. So Costa and Higgins will be your front row in Heat 1 as things stand at the moment, with Yatortis and Noble being your front row in Heat 2. But there's a strong performance happening right now for many of our Pro-Ams, and also Jamie King-Scott of Tim Salt's Motorsport leading AMs in terms of qualification right now. He's 26th overall. However, they're one of the big losers, Sam. Ken Strom, privateer, he's all the way down in 38th, the pro driver. That's not somewhere where we would have expected to see him.
And a very strong driver in the past. Kim Andre has won many races. I think maybe even a runner-up back in season 5, I want to say. So he is a very good driver, is Kim. I'm sure he will be up there. I don't think that's at all reflective of his pace. Of course, it's a weird scenario. No one serving pit lane starts, and so the times that you see out on track are reflective. Of course, former champion Nick Madsen up there in 5th position at the moment, and of course Pascal Costa, also a former champion. He is up on pole position, looking to become, or both those drivers looking to become the first ever 2-time champions of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup. But Thomas Cope, the former GT3 trophy champion, now goes up to the top of the standings. Have had the pleasure of chatting with Thomas in person when he visited the Apex Racing Sim Centre, which of course where we of course do all our studio broadcasts. And yeah, Thomas adapting very well to this 992, but 18 thousandths of a second not well enough to take pole position.
I mean, it's undescribable just how close things are. The fact that we've got 3 drivers, first through third, separated by under a tenth. It just shows you how close it is. And it's similar up and down the field as well, let's not forget. I mean, if you look at, I'm trying to pick up a really good example here. So 20th through to 24th, they're separated by, actually it's 19th in fact through to 24th, they're separated by a tenth. I'll admit that actually. Well, yeah, the 2 tenths for 25th as well. Slim margins make a big difference from where you will be starting.
Yeah, and by the way, we have got 49 drivers out here tonight. So it is a very packed circuit for it. And so, yeah, the time's dropping all the way down to Alex Deiter at the back. as we have got our first race of the season. 25 cars for Heat 1, and remember, top 12 go through, which is lovely because we want half the field to go through. So yeah, here we go, first grid of the season.
They do indeed. Still Costa starting on pole with the Tortoise alongside him, the Pro-Am driver. A great result for the Pro-Ams so early in the season. Burke starts alongside Hammer, with Dominic Roberts lining up alongside fellow Brit Samuel Jordan. Mariota and Kulak start on the 4th row grid, with row 5 being Afonso and Young. Hugendorn, he's got Alexandre Chalet next to him on row 6. Row 7, that is being made up from Max Furtwängler, starting alongside fellow German Joel Kleinknecht. Kevin Richard and Watzig are on row 7. Row 8 being Steffert and Daniel Zanon, who've just seen from the GT3 trophy here on Apex Racing TV. Nathan Willoughby, he's alongside American Eisenring to round out your top 20. Elusive, Billy Elusive, what a name that is.
I mean, honestly, it's a tight battle between Billy Elusive and Mats Furtwängler as the name of the season, honestly. It's really close. Let us know on the chat who you think wins out on that one.
The fact there's no E on it as well just adds to it.
Yeah. Why? Elusive, you could say.
You could say Albert Quarterup starts alongside him. An all-British row with Collishaw and Clist. And just to round out your grid, in 25th, it's Alexandra Deiter, fellow Brit. Wow, at the rear of the field, Collishaw and Clist, those two drivers know each other extremely well. Let's just wait for the last drivers to take to the grid. Going to be interesting to see how they get on alongside each other. So here come the lights. Let's get ready to go racing for the first time this season in Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup, as we are green and we are go here from Brands Hatch. And who's going to come out with a slot inside the final, Sam? It's tight, but everyone just is playing it cool and calm as around goes our leader across the track. And how do you miss everyone, Sam?
Absolute miracle there, and that's Zanon going into the back of him as well. Pascal Costa, well, you can see his reaction there. I think a lot of people would have reacted even worse. Afonso round. Jordan also off the circuit, but Burke leads this race.
Sam, there's another car off in the background. I think that might be Afonso, yes. Well spotted. Vasek leading a couple of places there. It's just chopping and changing around these early stages. That's a big gain to us. Alexandre Chalet, he's the Frenchman of Carius Esports, up 5 places already, your biggest climber so far. There's still no amps in that top 12.
Yeah, very little gains right there. They're all grouped together at the moment, so none are getting a particularly big advantage over one another. But Burke is where he wants to be, and this could be a race-winning position for Matthias Burke. Started P3 for this race, however, first position right now, if he can keep this, that would be pole position for the A final, and around this circuit, that could be absolutely decisive come the final. Really elusive transfer game places. He's actually remained where he is at the moment. But yeah, Marriott's up 4 places, Burke up 2 places, and Roberts up 3 places.
Losers, big game winners. So you see Furtwängler on the move there. He's up into 8. Oh no! Hugendorn running wide out of turn 1. It's easily done where the track just drops away from you, forcing the front end out wide there, Sam. And the Dutchman just losing those places. They're so easily done with this tight pack that we've got here today.
Yeah, that's unlucky, and now he's got a lot of work to do to get back into the advancing positions. Quad chop all over the back, new driver to the series. And Hammer lost out in all that. Tortoise, of course, lost out as well. I think it was Tortoise who made the contact with Costa initially, and sort of had to take evasive action as well, as we can see Philip Hammer kind of watching on. I think he's got a spectator as well, along with everyone on the YouTube chat. He's got someone watching along as well. That's one way to do spotting.
That is definitely. Of course, Elusive just losing a place there to Deiter in the battle for 21st. Well, Elusive now in the best of exits. He's dropped down another places. You see this battle up front just starting to spread out a little bit right now. With the Tortoise not having the best of start, just dropping those places after starting on the front row. Burke leads from Roberts.
And we've got a replay at the start as well. There's a couple of the incidents that happened further down the order. Oh, well, was Costa early on the brakes there, I wonder?
I mean, you've surely got to expect it to be, Sam, where he's on that inside line. He can't carry as much speed into there. Maybe this onboard here will give us a few more answers. I mean, they're weaving around left, right and centre, bumping.
Maybe a bit of netcode as well, potentially, and then he has to basically turn out of the corner in order to avoid contact, but kept hold of it. As that was Burke, apologies, so Burke had the very strong start, didn't he? Well, no, I mean, that's why we have stewards, and wow, Burke was so lucky not to get collided. That credit to Burke as well for turning out the corner, because had he taken the A-phase, he would have definitely had contact there.
And we've got, as always, some top quality stewards.
All round!
No!
And that's going to change the order, and that is Hukendorn back into the advancing places. And a change for the lead as well. Matthias Burke has made a mistake. I wonder if that's through Clark Curve.
And ahead goes Dominic Roberts up into first at 4 places now. What can he do? Can he gallop away? He needs to. He needs to get some fresh air between himself and the Frenchman, Maxime Marot. And to bring this one home as we approach half race distance. And Sam, we're not too far off with any more mistakes from what happens up inside this top 12 from having a and possibly squeeze their way into the final at these early stages.
Yeah, Thorsten Seifert, what a debut that would be for him if he could just narrowly get himself into play. But, yeah, Roberts. Yeah, well, of course we had a Pro-Am win the title last week, but for a Pro-Am to win the first heat of the season would be another level.
Right now, Furtwanger chasing hard after Chalet. Germany versus France. But they're well through. They need to play that percentage game as we see further down through the field now. Alfonso, if it hadn't been for that spin, I mean, he's just set the fastest of anyone. Wow. Sector 2. And he's got no one to draft off, nobody to help him, Sam. I mean, that's just showing what sort of pace the Portuguese driver has got.
By the way, I think that's Stewards and Graham Hill Bend, and maybe Surtees as well. That sort of section of the circuit. So it's got a fair few corners in it. So that's impressive that he could pull that one out. Is Kochop again battling with Richard. I think these two may have come together previously. No, I think it was Richard and Seifert maybe. But yeah, Kochop actually getting past fairly recently on Richard. He is 1 place away from advancing, but if he could finish like...
Sam Spinner in the background, I just saw them light the tyres. I think you're right, I think it was Collishaw. It's that nice and easy for us, a nice bright orange livery.
No, yeah.
Oh no.
That is a question.
Willoughby, that's Willoughby off. Well, how has Nathan Willoughby managed that one? I mean, styled maybe a little bit by Collishaw ahead of him, but then just locks up and just carries straight on. Bit of a strange one, but it's his teammate, but in the sister car, Dominic Roberts leads the way right now for effect simulations. And he's building that gap over Marriott. It had dropped down a little bit to about half a second, now back up to 7 tenths. They are both clear of Burke, but these up front, it's all about just booking the slots, not doing something overzealous. And making sure that they've got their place inside there. Last time around, interestingly, Mathis Burke set the fastest lap of the race.
Quattrop has dropped down. What's happened to Quattrop? I swear he was side by side with Richard and then disappeared. I don't think he could have got into the wall and towed by the time I saw him start to drop places. Or is he back? No, his connection's all over the place, I think, Quattrop. I'm not sure if he'll rejoin from there.
It's in and out like a fiddler's elbow right now, Sam. Although that driver picture is epic, I've got to say. Seeing up where Furtwanger trying to make a move there. He's locked in a battle with Chalet and Jordan, not far behind.
Steering angle, wasn't it?
And he saved it. Deutsche Payments, Kleinnet. Wow, he's struggling like mad with the tyres right now, Sam. This is trouble when you get on the grass. It's getting a bit of dirt onto them, and all of a sudden, it becomes a bit like an ice cream out there.
Yeah, he's taking big arcing angles, but he doesn't need these tyres very long. He needs them for just over 10 minutes, and then he can discard them and get some new tyres on for what will be for him the A final, and he should be very happy about that one. Hukendorn still with that final spot. Quadrup still refusing to disconnect from the server, but I think he is going to lose places regardless of that one. Roberts comfortably out in the lead, and oh, that's an off in the background. What's that Kleinect, I wonder? Kleinect is losing some time, yeah, I think it was, and pushed it too hard through Sheens, but he had a big enough gap to Hukendorn behind to stay in front.
I've seen Deutsche Payments around in a few different series, Sam, and the German team have got some really strong drivers.
They won a round in the last round in the LMDH in the ARA Prototypes Championship.
One of the top GT drivers, Daniel Muff, is absolutely outstanding. It takes a lot to beat him. Even when he's on a bad day, it is frightening the amount of pace he's got. But it's just seeing up front right now, Roberts building that gap over Marriott. He's likewise then building that gap over Burke. And, well, on the track, fastest man was our leader, Dominic Roberts. It was all running wide in the background there.
Seifert. And that Zig gets past Eisenring. Good move from the Gericke Motorsports car. And Eisenring now leader of the amateur drivers. So he stayed in the same position in all of that. Overall, he's still in 15th place. And just a reminder as well to new people to Apex Racing League, pretty much a universal thing in Apex Racing League is you score points for your overall position, not your class position. So these AMs want to beat the Pro-Ams want to beat the Pros, and all of that. So it's your overall position, not your position in class. As the check flag is already out. Gosh.
Where's that gone, Sam? Ooh, contact there between, wow, that would have been Collishaw and Quattro, but Roberts takes the first victory of the season. He's through. Likewise with Marriott, Burke, Tortoise, Hammer, Kolek, Chalet, Furtwangler, Jordan, Young, Kleinect, and Hukendorn is the last driver to automatically qualify for the final. And that's just whereabouts you're going to start from the B final, the consolation race. So, I mean, in the end, a bit uneventful up front, but that's exactly what these top qualifying drivers would have hoped for.
Yeah, that's what you've got to do in the end. I mean, one of the things we are going to have this season is most entertaining driver of the week. But the drivers shouldn't really be pursuing that. They should be pursuing points, and playing it safe in the heat is what you need to do. We say it every single time we use this format, just play it safe in the heat. It's not worth fighting over 5th position when you're already through and safe. There's just 1 point, a couple of places on the grid for the A final. It can go so badly for you, such as Pascal Costa, who will be starting from the back for the B final. But we have already got the second heat of the evening about to get underway, but yeah, there are the results for Heat 1.
It's cool, just confirming Roberts, Marriott, Burke, Tortoise, Hamner, Kolek, Chalet, Furtwangler, Jordan, Young, Kleinect, and Hugenberg all making their way through. Let's take you through the grid for Heat 2 of the evening. Thomas Cope starts alongside fellow Brit Gareth Higgins. Norda and Madsen on the second row with Larn and Velgert. My recommendation is down in 6th place. Tim Darracott, another one of mine, he's on row 4 with Igor Kost. Philip Antel, the Swede, is alongside Corey Lazarus to run at your top 10. Dipicolio and Shorsguk are on row 6. Row 7, King Scott lines up alongside fellow Aussie Sproul, Grickmer and Scott. Luc Lamont starts alongside Pasquale. Running at the top 20 is Zaharia and Dan Berg. It's row 10. Kin Armstrong, poor qualifying from the privateer. Well down in 21st, Matteo Stromley, Sevilla and Putnell running at your grid as we are away for Heat 2. Oh wow, what 12 drivers are going to make it through this time? Are we going to see drama at turn 2? Let's find out together, Sam.
Cope with a really strong start, and actually being pushed out there was Gareth Higgins. He's already dropped 2 places. He might be threat of dropping even more places, trying to just slot himself into people.
Well, no, there we go. That's Nathan Scott off and into the wall. The AM driver, not the start that he would have hoped for whatsoever, but Thomas Cope already pulling out a decent margin, Sam, 6/10 of a second.
and a mega start for Kim-On-Jo Strom, up 6 places. He's up into 15th. We had already identified his weak qualifying, but if he continues at that rate, he will be getting through into the A final, no problem. But the fastest first sector of anyone else, which was a slight advantage because he had a larger run-up than the front runners, so he could carry more speed into turn 1, as already he's passed all the ads. That's James Kingscott, who has had a nice start himself, leader of the ads as it stands.
Around the back of the circuit, and as tight as you like, and running wide there. That was Madsen just getting out on the grass, quite easily done at that point on the circuit. And yet again, and now Madsen in trouble, and Gareth Higgins, who did not get about the starts off the line, head straight past him. Well, a few corners.
Oh, side by side behind as well.
It's up and down
Oh,
the field.
picks. Oh, 3 picks. This is the R Championship. Complete side. Lane, Vilgert and Darracott. I think Vilgert might be able to get past Lane. Here he is. He's up into 5th position, and Darracott may well follow him through, and that would be for the Pro-Am lead. Was he able to do anything with it? It looks like it all stayed in the same order. Meanwhile, Strom continuing to make progress. This is on Boykema right now. Point is this Kingscott coming back at Strom, so Strom must have got a little bit held up there, but he is holding on. But that's the opposite of what we thought.
Easily done through Druid, Sam. Easily done. If you get on the outside line, you can get squeezed out a little bit and lose quite a bit of time, despite being able to carry that bit more momentum through there. There's up front, Cope still leads from Nold, Nick Higgins, Madsen, and then for the Sim versus Tam. Sim versus Tam? Completely wrong. Sam versus Tim trophy. Valgott leading over Lard and Darracott. There are 3 picks for this season. The Strom now past Bukima all the way down in 14th. Strom still needs to pick up 2 places if he wants to get himself in the final automatically. Lamole and Stromeri swapping places further down through the field right now. That's the 3rd in AM. With all 3 of our lead AM drivers well down on trying to make the automatic transfer spots from 12th upwards. And in terms of overall positions right now, Sam, not doing as well as the AM drivers from Heat 1.
No, not at the moment. They're a fair bit away, as Vilgert lost that position again to Lane, made a mistake, and I think that's pushed Darracott into Ansel. Ansel can't do anything with that, wasn't quite alongside into Druids. I'm surprised we haven't seen more issues into Druids. It's the main overtaking spot on this track. However, if you're the lead car, you can very easily take an early turn in. And well, we saw that incident between Paul Lang and Oscar Pye last season in the GT3 Trophy when we visited this track. And that has very much happened again right there. As Lan is off the circuit, Lan off the track. And that is a crucial mistake. He was comfortably in P5, and just as that happens, Tim Darracott gets past Velgert. So Darracott up 2 places in a matter of moments.
Oh no, Darracott's off. He's off. Oh no, he's into the wall. And it's all gone wrong for the Brit, who falls all the way down. And I'm not even sure if that car's crabbing or not there, Sam. It's all gone wrong for him. And Strom, in the blink of an eye, through 2 mistakes, finds himself in the transfer spot, and there's more contact, there's more issues here. Oh, Sam, it's all changing. Now we've got Kingscott. He's the AM leader in AM, and he's into the last of the automatic transfer spots. He's into 12, Sam. You said it couldn't be done, but we could be about to witness it in the first round of the season.
We could. Lane still coming back, however, through the audio. Seems to have escaped too much contact there, but that entire pack of cars, sort of 6 or 7 cars, all of a sudden lost their minds there. They were all over one another, 2 wide round some of the narrowest parts of the track, and yeah, 3 of them got whittled down, and a few of them have got contact now as well. But Strom up into P10, absolutely mega race for him, up half the order, 11 places gained for him from the start of the race. But really disappointing for Swordchips. He looked like he was being able to get through, but he is out of it. And Nathan Scott as well, towing back to the pits, along with Maihei Sahare, who towed on lap 2 of the race.
Look back from our leader, Thomas Cope. It's much closer than it was in Heat 1 between the first 2. 2 attempts at this race distance. Nold right behind him of Dual Esports. Higgins and Madsen just about staying in tow. Then it's a big old gap to Velgert in 5th, but this is just about qualifying. It's just about getting yourself through, and crucially, we got an AM driver in the last of the transfer spots in 12th who'll be heading straight to the final. That is Jamie Kingscott. Tin Top Motorsport are looking to make it, well, put some fresh air between himself, a position between it, because he's into the back of Samuel Bakima of Geeks Energy Sim Racing. Can he do it, Sam?
It's looking good for him right now. I think Line is actually dropping back, if anything. He's lost places since then, or since that instant. And, well, we'll see what his lap time is this time, but he looks... he just looks a little bit slow on some of the sectors. It's not too bad for him. Yeah, no. 26 and 7.9, so nothing awful. That's 2 seconds off the pace. So it could be traffic, but I think it's more likely the damage that he's got could still come back in the B final. Of course, your position in, even if you miss out on the top 12, if you can get in the top 15, you're still going to be on the front 3 rows for the B final. So it is advantageous to be there. Higgins catching up, and Madsen's catching up as well. Cope, I think, has got control of this race. I don't think he's pushing 100%. Our Season 3 GC3 Trophy driver doing everything that he needs to right now in order to take this race win.
And starting at the top, Sam, it's really crucial for that consolation final, the B final, because only the top 6 go through out of that one, so even less, and there's still a 30-car grid pretty much.
Yeah, well, 26 drivers I think will be into that.
Much quicker than myself, aren't you?
Yeah, so I didn't mean to be patronising. That sounded very patronising.
No,
I was just.
If this is so the truth, Sam, you can't deny the truth.
Let us know on the chat if you thought that point for me was patronising. Boykema doing well, he's actually a bit by himself, isn't he? But he's got King Scott gradually closing in, just by about half a tenth on that last lap. I think King Scott knows the format, and even though he doesn't need to do anything, I think these 4 know the format as well. Nold isn't doing anything spectacular. Nold, our highest iRacing driver, over 7,000 of iRatings, and so he's one of our favourites for the title.
That's nearly 2 Sam Fitzpatrick's and 1 Tim Cox.
8.5. That's 2 Sam Fitzpatrick's and 1 Tim Cox.
It is definitely, yeah. Higgins just getting a little bit loose right now. And equally, Noel closing into the back of Cope.
Cope's moving around a little bit there. Not sure if that was 100% fair from the Olympus esports driver.
It's getting a bit squirrely and a bit nervous right now as we get to the business end of this heat. And all of a sudden, from just thinking, I can make this through. Let's play it safe. Let's play the numbers game here. Someone just turned the degrees up a couple of centigrade right now. And
Salvatore Lane, by the way, his pace is back. 25.2 on that last lap. Lane, I think we'll get past Le Mans. Here he goes. But I don't think he's going to catch up in time. And certainly if Le Mans is going to defend like this, he's not going to catch up. See, King Scott is looking good for the Aussie. Here comes Nold. Oh, he looked at it.
White flags in the air, Sam. 1 lap left to go in Heat 2. And who's going to take it? Will it be Cope? Will it be Old? Higgins 3rd, Madsen 4th. A 2nd separating all 4 of Pleasure folk. And also, more crucially, can King Scott hold on to that 12th place? And can we have an AM drive? And Sam, you said it could not be done. And here we are, Heat 2 of the first round. And we look like we've got a chance of it.
Yeah, looks like it's going to happen. Still, Le Mans keeping Lane behind, so looks all safe for King Scott. And Cope surviving, heading into Hawthorne Bend. That should be the test complete. There's barely any overtaking spots now to the end of the track. Really, only a mistake would deny the Olympus esports driver his first race win in Porsche Cup. And so, 20 seconds on the clock remaining. Lane has got past Le Mans, but it's not going to be enough to catch up to King Scott as Madsen looking at every which way to get a podium.
Only 1 more corner left. It's not really an overtaking opportunity. Nold has a bit of a look. Knows he needs to get a great exit here. Needs to stir the braking zone of Cope, but Cope's going to hold on. He's going to take the victory in Heat 2. Nold, Higgins, Madsen are through. Velgert, well, just waiting for him to come round. There we go, he's through. Ansel, Koss, Lazarus, DiPicolio, they're through. Strom, what a drive from him in the end, up 11 places. Bukima and King Scott, the AM driver, is through to the final. Just going to keep reminding you, you said it couldn't be done.
I don't think I said I used those words. I said I would be surprised. And you know what, Tim? I'm surprised, and I'm going to stick with that surprise term. because I didn't think anyone would get in the heats on.
Especially this early on, Sam. Normally, everyone turns out for the first. It's always a great showing for the first round of a league, and although driver retention is very high, the field just it drops by 2 or 3 people, which can sometimes be that difference as an AM driver to get yourself through into one of those automatic transfer spots. But wow, first attempt, Jamie King Scott says, "Hold my beer, watch this." He gets him far through, although he was helped a little bit by a couple of incidents ahead of them. There are your Heat 2 results. Failing that Cope, Nold, Higgins, Madsen, Valgott, Ansel, Kost, Lazarus, DiPicolio, Strom, Bukima, and King Scott head straight through to the final. Let's take you through your grid for the consolation race, the B final. Top 6 heading through here. Richard and Lahn on the front row. Vartzik and Lamol, Eisenring and Sproul. They're your top 6, your top 3 rows. Seifert, Berg, Afonso and Pasquale round out your top 10 in row 5 of the grid. Then it's Kliss and Pantnu. Collishaw alongside Darricott, one of the drivers after a bit of redemption. Kutrup and Stramoli. Zanon starts alongside Sevilla on row 9. Best name on the grid, Billy Elusive, starts alongside Sorshuk for row 10 and 20th. Willoughby and Saharia, row 11. Dieter and Nathan Scott. And Pascal Costa.
I mean,
big name. Qualified on pole.
Let us know in the chat, do you think he's going to make it? This would be some drive from Pascal Costa to make it through. We've got the grid setting up. Sproul has not taken to the grid in P6. There's an empty spot, but away we go. Kevin Richard from the pole position. Lani holding on to P2 down into turn 1, cutting off the inside with Vitalik in third.
To Druids for the first time and just moving around. It's a bit more aggressive as running wide in the background there. Didn't quite catch who it was. Costa's at 5 places already. Sammy's making progress. Oh no, that's a big shunt. Oh, we're going to have a few casualties down here.
Was wiped out half our top 10 as that instant, and it was the top 3 somehow going alongside. And it's Lars Vatzig who has been able to get through it all and leads this race. Jordi Severe up 12 places. He's into the top 6 as Severe right now. And there is a Sorchuk. Sorchuk had a great chance at getting through. He gained so many places, but he's got on slipping back down again. What a painful evening for Olaf.
Sam, Pascal Costa. What was Hontu just heading out wide? That's not going to help him whatsoever. And it's going to give Costa another place. Made that 15 places. He's up inside the top 10. Started dead last. Qualified on pole, remember. Make that 9 as he displaces Willoughby there. Dispatches of him with relative ease. Let's face it, Willoughby's no slouch himself whatsoever. Sam, we're only 1 minute 30 into this race. 14 minutes long. Is it what it's going to be in its entirety? Vartsig, he's off into the distance, 1.5 seconds clear. Darricott getting past Sevilla there. He's had a great start. Jordi Sevilla, the Spaniard, he's from 11 places into 7th, that drops outside his automatic propulsion places. Sam, I get the feeling this is good. Well, Darricott past Kliss, so he's getting more comfortable inside there.
I think that top 5 right now are looking fairly safe. They all look very comfortable. Eisenring, of course, would be the second AM to make it through, as Klist is dropping down the order, actually. Now he's got Sevilla up his inside. Darricott game pass. No, Berg's gone off. There you go. That's a curse. Jesus Christ. Top 5 are safe. And then Berg has undone that one for Team Shazoo. Oh, Berg, you had that one in the bag, man. Just had to survive the 12 minutes. Such field spread in these early stages of the craziness that's been going on. And now it's Sevilla back into the top 6.
Look at Costa, though, up 17 places into 8th. Love to know in the chat if you think, can he do it from the back of the grid to get inside the top 6 after crashing out turn 1 in Heat 1, having stuck it on pole? Can the German do it for Impulse Racing? Odds stacked against him. Eisenring and Darricott battle away here for 3rd place.
Alfonso gets him past Eisenring. Up into 2nd place now as Afonso.
Severe's just dropped 2 places, Sam. Severe's just dropped 2 places.
Yeah, he's slipping.
That's 7th for Costa. 1 more left to go, and the car is right in front of him. Here we go into turn 1. And right round the outside. Wow, what a move if you can make this one stick. Pascal Costa. And looks like, well, he's not going to make it just one. It's going to be 2 for 1 as we head into Druids.
List holds on for the time being, but it's only a matter of time until Costa makes this, and it's in fact going to be Graham Hill Bend where he's able to get it done. Pascal Costa making whatever lines he likes in order to move past these drivers, and he is going to mean that every pro driver will surely make it through into the A final, or just make a mistake. Surely it won't be Pascal Costa. Pochup up into the top 6, so Clist and Severe, the 2 AMs, a similar pace it looks like, and they're both slipping down the order at the same rate as these drivers who are involved in instance in their heats all right at the start of this B final start to make their way back through. That is Severe trying to go down the inside of Clist. They nearly make contact. Clist holds on to Peter.
You know it's tight when you hear one of our producers in our ear go,
oh no!
No!
Oh, I think Willoughby turned it. No, that was Severe turning into Willoughby. Honestly, I don't think Willoughby did a whole lot wrong. Willoughby did a lot wrong there, though. That was a bad rejoin.
Wow. Well, a bit of frustration, a bit of disorientation from heading off. Really elusive. He's not elusive, is he? Up into 8th now. A little bit far down. So Frederick Field's starting to spread out. Severe's dropping a lot of places. I think he's had a few issues out there. But on Pascal Costa, Kevin W in the chat, he believed he could do it. And well, he was spot on. Because he has managed to. That's
Zaharia. That's in the wall as well. That might be terminal. Yeah, he's got a puncture.
This is the trouble, Sam, isn't it? You know, no anti-lock brakes, no ABS on these cars, and one little snatch of the brake and it puts you in the wall or off the track. A few of our drivers, with such hard, close racing, experiencing that right now as Darracott is hunting down Eisenring. Pro-Am versus the Am driver. Eisenring's doing a cracking job to holding off, but Darracott last time around, fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, Darracott looks super quick out there. I think he could win this race. He's 3.7 off the lead, and this B final, see, it's a little bit wide. After we go through the 10-minute heats, this B final does go on for a while. A lot can happen in it. I would not be surprised if Darracott or Costa ended up winning this race. Pasquale passed Pahontu. Pahontu, I guess, didn't have a puncture. I was jumping to conclusions there, but he does have damage, I think. So Pasquale moving up to the P13. He needs a lot of stuff to happen though, in order to get into the top 6, because in that top 6 we've got 4 Pro-Ams, a Pro and an Am, and Eisenring, that Am looks maybe the most secure of all those drivers.
It does definitely looks that way. Let's take a look at some replays though. And this is back to the race starts, and
so this is going to be a mistake then for our former race leader.
I think it was some. I mean, they were all over one another. You could smell trouble brewing, and they just all started getting into one another. They're free wide on the exit of Druids, didn't help things.
And that was Lane in the middle.
And then lots of innocent bystanders there. So they came back across the track. So this is looking on boards right now.
Is this Costa? This is Costa.
Yeah,
just making his way through the order.
See, I mean, that was brave going around the outside there, because there's going to be cars rejoining, as you see, coming back across the track there. It's just, well, yeah, here we go. Oh, so there was a spinner. There was a Scotch Corsa car across the track, and look, it's just picking his way through a sea of cars and carnage in front of him. It's Darracott past Eisenring, just in live
Costa's
pictures.
got past Eisenring as well. So Eisenring, I think, with a mistake on this lap, yeah, he lost 3 seconds in the 5th sector with Eisenring. Here was the move from Costa.
Oh, what a move this was! Just clung on for dear life right around the outside now, and coming into Graham Hill. He'll be up the inside. Job done, and that really sort of set Costa on his way for what's going to be.
It could be last to first.
It could. Not sure he's going to have enough time, Sam, if I'm completely honest. Well, I say that. With half race distance, anything is possible.
Yeah, if I had to put a bet on it, I think he'll win this race, or Costa.
So 4.9, now 5 seconds, in fact. And also, it means he's got to get past Darracott, who will prove to be a tough opponent for him. Aside of I mean, catching up Afonso and Vartsig, I mean, having controlled this race from the start, will not want to let his vice-like grip go on the victory here. I mean, maybe Costa's thinking, do you know what? As it stands at the moment, on through. Just drive at 95%, make it through, and whatever happens with making it places happens. We're right on board with him right now. That's Darracott of Effect Simulations ahead of us.
Yeah, I don't think he'll care too much about where he finishes this race. It's basically the difference between starting 25th and starting as low as 30th for the A final. 30 drivers making through 12 from the 2 heats earlier on. Costa's making up half a car length there, just on the brakes into the first corner of this Brands Hatch circuit. Round 1 of the championship, of course, because next week we are going to have 2 studio broadcasts for the first time in Apex Racing TV. We're going to have 2 studio broadcasts on the same night. It is the Apex Racing League Clio Cup. If you fancy racing the Clio in an organised league, that should be the league for you. 7 rounds, 2 20-minute races for each round, reverse grids. Already got 22 drivers signing up for the series. So join us next Friday. You can join the series at apexracingleague.com. It should be a lot of fun. And of course, yeah, broadcasting from our studio. And then we'll have this race straight afterwards. It'll be a very entertaining night of sim racing action.
First time that we've had a series as a support series, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah.
And definitely looking forward to seeing the Clear Cups out on track. It's going to be fascinating. Well, I just think it's going to be epic action between those guys. There's talking of action, Xenon and Sevilla. So Xenon and Panontu right now having a right scrap. This all the way down over 14th. They might be pretty much down and out, but it didn't still stop them from having fun and having a go at one another.
Did we see what happened to Sevilla earlier on? I cannot quite remember. But of course he's behind these guys. When he was up in, I think, as high as P4 at one point.
He was, Sam. He was. And then fell back to 6th, and then when he got stuck around Darracott, just sort of fell apart for him, really. It's gutting.
Clister's driving very well. Paul Joseph Clister takes part in all our leagues in Apex Racing League. All that's very wide for elusive. He's just pushing, asking too much of the tyres right there to get around that corner. Richard up into 8th place. Remember, Richard started in 2nd place, collided with Salvatore Lane out of Druids on lap 1.
Sam, Vardzig's lost just coming up to a 2nd now. Afonso's reeled him in. Like he was, mackerel on the end of a fishing line. He's just, reeled him in an incredible pace. You can see in the bottom right now a graphic of how that gap has just, tumbled down.
Yeah.
The last couple of laps.
And these two seem very safe now. Darracott slowly closing the gap, but Costa just made a mistake on that last lap, lost a 2nd in the final sector of the last lap, so he's a little bit of a distant 4th. So it should just be these two going toe-to-toe for the last 2.5 minutes of this race. Just got 2 more laps to go, in fact, so not much time for Afonso. I really hope that he doesn't go for something over-ambitious, like these guys seem to be going for.
Elusive!
And Berg is up to P9. That was a little bit of a tap on corner entry, and it seemed to really unsettle the car once he got on the brakes.
Afonso just backing out a little bit from Vardzig. 4/10 of a second as Elusive loses more places. Going for the Aussie, I mean, he's in for a really solid result.
And of course, it's important to say that not getting into the A final, that's not like a bad thing. If you're an amateur driver, in the end, it's unlikely that you will get into the A final. Only 2 amateurs are going to get into the A final. So for these amateurs, where Clister's in 8th place, that's a really good result. That's 3rd place out of the AMs. That's going to get you a lot of championship points for your campaign. So that's quite a big mistake there or quite a big incident there.
And those points based on overall position as well, aren't they? So, the higher up you can finish, the better. And this format is pretty much designed that everyone gets 2 races, a heat race and then a final. There are some lucky drivers who'll get to do all 3, but there's only 6 of them out of a grid of, up to 60. That's 10%. It's a very small amount. Hence why you've got drivers just like this, scrapping over, some might argue, meaningless places. Clist under a lot of pressure in these closing stages from Berg as Well, Vartsik has crossed the start-finish line. They're taking the white flag. 1 lap left to go. Here in the B final.
Oh no, he's off again, Dan Berg. Oh, he must be so frustrated. He should totally be up there. I think if he hadn't have made that first mistake, he'd be around Eisenring, almost certainly ahead of Kottrup, and would have been through as Afonso. Calm down. It's not time for heroes here. It's time for second place.
Severe into the pits. That could be instant.
I think Afonso's going to go for this.
Do you think up the inside? Covered up from Vartsik. He saw that one coming from a country mile. So they head around Hawthorns. Drop down towards Westfield, just trying to find a way underneath him. How close do you want to be? Yeah, Alfonso. Running out of time, running out of corners. There's Sheens. Going to head left now through Sterling Sam and down Clearways. It's Clarkcliffe, all or nothing. But he doesn't need to. They'll still be signed from the same row in the final.
It's not going to happen for him, is it? It's going to be Lars Vatsig who's going to take his first Apex Racing League victory and a spot in the A final.
Fonzo's through. Darracott, he's made it through, and likewise has Costa. That means we've had all the pros through. Eisenring joins this fellow AM driver into the final as Kuttrop is the last driver through. They're your top 6 through.
Kevin Richard made a mistake right at the end.
He must have done some because he came across the line and dropped a couple of places. So
he was crawling across the line. I wonder if he hasn't got like a drive-through and he's tried to serve it on the last lap. Let's see if he's in the pits. No, I don't see him in the pits. He could have towed back.
I mean,
maybe.
The only other thing is, Sam, is did he underfuel the car?
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Didn't change his setup, or just left it with whatever he had from race 1, and it wouldn't be the first time we've seen that.
No.
It won't be the last time either, I get the feeling. There's always one driver who you can just tell, it's like, oh, when they realise what mistake they've made. Normally, it's the guys who get straight into the final, especially out of Heat 1, because they walk away, go off and do something while the racing's going on, and come back and switch off that little bit. Or certainly these guys that have progressed out of the B final into the grand final.
I could see, by the way, the Afonso fandom out in force. He's got a lot of fans, does Afonso. So, yeah, glad to have you guys along with the 70 other rest of you. Fantastic to see so many people watching this. Hopefully you're enjoying the race. And, yeah, if you are supporting someone, do let us know on the chat.
Bartik, Afonso, Darracott, Costa, Eisenring and Quattrup all through into the final. 2 and all of the pros are through too. So in finishing order will be Kliss, Zaharia, Richard, Willoughby to run out in top 10. Berg, he is finished in 11th, and wow, Sam, some great racing there.
Yeah, really, really nice racing right there. We're going to take a quick little break, but then we'll be back with you in just a short amount of time for the final race of the evening, the A final.
Welcome back, and we are now minutes, seconds in fact away from the final. Who's going to take the first victory of the season? Who's going to walk home? feeling maybe a bit dismayed. Now, your thoughts on the chat. What is your prediction? Who's going to take the first victory of the season? I suppose ultimately the real winner, Sam, are us in the commentary booth and everyone home who gets to witness all this great action.
Yeah, and the friends that we made along the way as well. That's what
everybody's a winner.
This is what it's all about. According to Mitchell Drysdale, he gave us the nicest testimonial we've ever had last
I didn't
night.
shed a tear.
Yeah, where he said, I didn't care about the Pro-Am Championship, I didn't care about winning the overall, I'm just glad that I made a couple of friends. And it was really nice that. Hopefully we can get that this season. By the way that the Heat 1 started with the top 2 drivers making contact and wiping each other out, it wasn't exactly all fans, but you know, by the end of the 7 rounds, or 8 rounds, sorry, hopefully that will repair and many other friendships will be blossoming as the warm-up session is complete, and we will go through our 30-car field, our biggest grid of the race of the evening, which will decide the big points.
Robert starts on pole. The Pro-Am driver. What a turn up from the Burks. Thomas Cope starts alongside him. Marriott and Nold on row 2. Row 3 is Burke and Higgins. Haradashi Torsa starts on row 4 alongside Madsen, with the all-German row 5 of Hammer and Velgert. Row 6 is Kowalik and Ansel, with row 7 being Shelley and Koss. Row 8, that's Furtwängler and Lazarus. Row 9 being Jordan and DiPicolio. Aiden Young songs alongside Kim Andrew Strom, Kleinknecht and Bukima, Hugendorn, Jamie Kingstock, the AM driver, starting in 24th. Then it's our qualifiers from the B final, Vartzig and Afonso, Darricott and Costa, Eisenring, the second the AM drivers through, and Quattrop starts in 30th. Big grid, big action. Here come the lights. Let's get ready to go racing from Brands Hatch in the final of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup. And already Roberts trying to get across just to cover off Cope there. Elbows out saying, this is mine, I want this victory.
And looking down the inside, very threatening is Marriott, but he wasn't able to do a whole lot with it. Can he get underneath? Oh, we got the leader very well. We're going to have 3 wide again. Are we going to see the same chaos? We are not this time. Marriott might take the lead in all this. Cope, however, with the inside line, heading through Graham Hill, looking very racy behind his nod, but it's gone terribly wrong for Dominic Roberts.
Oh, from first down to 4 for Roberts. Not the start he would have hoped, but still leading. Oh, there's a spinner.
And now Nold's round.
Oh, no, and he's taking Roberts with him.
They made contact with one another. Roberts turned into the corner, made contact with the rear right of Nold, who lost control. And now we've got a pile up down the pit straight.
Oh, no.
That is absolutely huge. That has wiped out at least 10 drivers.
Oh, I think more. There's cars airborne in scenes reminiscent to that famous GT3 accident at Macau. There is millions and millions of pounds worth of damage. Luckily it's all virtual, nobody hurt here. But wow, that shuffled things around. Big winners, big losers. Quattrop at 13 places into 17th, Sam. And as well, Vartzig, he's up 9. Kim Anderstrom, he's up 9 too.
Complete mix-up. And Roberts was involved in that as well.
Oh no.
Maybe Roberts was the one who started it all off because he was off the circuit, remember? So maybe it was him slow back onto the circuit, which has caused a 3 wide, and then through the kink, it's caused mania. We had a very similar incident in ARLTC about 3.5 years ago. That one very much reminded me from some fantastic spin. That's Kovalik. He's got away very luckily with that one. Madsen's got past Utortus meanwhile. Madsen could have a very nice point, so he's up 4 places from his start. And Kovalik continued to drop places. That's Tim Andre Strong trying to make that. He remains, however, in 11th.
Haven't quite made it stick yet, although I get the feeling as they head through 30s, this is going to be the move done and dusted. So, who have we lost? Who's headed into the pits? Darricott, King Scott, Bakima, Afonso. They've come back out again. So has Chalet and Hugendorf for that big incident. Roberts has retired the car, so has Koss, Kleinek and Costa as well after that rags to riches tale. In the end gets caught up.
Yeah, Costa's probably the most unlucky man of the day. Unless he started it all. I seriously doubt it because he was at the back on the most part. So Utortus leading the way in the Pro-Ams, and Eisenring leading the way in the AMs. Utortus dropping back a bit. He's already lost out to Madsen, and now he's under pressure from Felgut, as Lazarus is under pressure from Kovalek, who is nomination right now for the most entertaining driver of this A final. Lazarus with a poor lap that last time round, but it was actually, apologies, it was Kovalek with the poor lap last time round. We saw him spin at this corner. He's continuing to drop down the order even after that incident. Is that going to be contact in the background, because Del Piccolo sent it in deep to turn 2. He managed to collect it all up, but he made contact with Kovalek, who's coming back up against him. The Mag Performance SRT driver has to play second best.
It's now the meet in an ATRS esports sandwich of Kovalek and Samuel Jordan up front, though. Cope leading the way, 6/10 the advantage over Marriott. Burke is in the fight too, so is Madsen. Tortoise just dropping off a little bit, plus also he has Velgut to worry about right behind him. Same turn. Well, Higgins isn't far behind. I mean, they're spaced out, but nothing too much to worry about at this stage of the race. 4 minutes out of the 18 complete, and still battles are plenty. There's Vartzik, Kutrup and Nold having a freeway scrap right now on track. Oh, sorry, Kutrup, Nold and Ansel, apologies. Vartzik is right at the race, 7.5 seconds up the road. You can see the clear division, can't you, Sam, between where that incident, who got caught up in that incident and who didn't.
Yeah, nearly half the field gets
17th down.
3 drivers seemingly out of the race, plus 6 more who had to take repairs. There'll be a few ailing cars and a few drivers who probably had to come to a complete stop. So I guess we've seen the biggest crash of the season. Got that one out of the way nice and early, or so we hope at least. Nold past Kutchup. Nold, well, you can see the damage. Kutchup, one of those drivers in a big trouble. Nold did not need to come into the pits in all of that. I think he was just ahead of it. So Nold spun, remember, because he collided with the pole sitter, Dominic Roberts. So Roberts did get involved, but somehow, I don't know how, Nold didn't. So Nold must have been behind it all, because he had such a bad spin. So.
Sometimes, Sam, you know what it's like, especially if anyone who's done any sort of oval racing. So it's just pure luck. Sometimes you can just thread the eye of the needle and it all comes off. It's incredibly rare, but it does happen. Just see in the chat, image hunters hunting for an image of the scene of the crime that was that big accident. Don't worry, I know our producer's working on tirelessly to get that for you from numerous angles.
Yeah, it's very tricky in this scenario to get a replay, to be fair.
Because all the action that happened.
Yeah, to identify where it all started out is a very, very tricky job. Cope pulling away 1.2 seconds out in the lead, but is Burke going to be able to pass Marriott? Marriott left the inside open, Marriott with that mega start, which he was able to get up into second place. Matthias Burke looking racy, but now he might be losing out because he's left himself on the outside, and Nick Madsen is able to get underneath him. The 2 Danish drivers battling side by side, heading into Surtees, and it will be Madsen who surely will have the upper hand if he can just clear him. It's a slight slide for Burke on the exit, and it's Matthias Burke who drops a position, and Nick Madsen is having a terrific A final right now.
So it's up into third, up into the podium past Ferro Country and Matthias Burke. That's further down the field. Scraps of plenty between young Kolik and Lazarus. Lazarus currently sitting third in Pro-Am as well. Utortus and Furtwängler, your other drivers on the podium in Pro-Am. They are, Utortus 5th, Furtwängler 6th, so 9th even, apologies. This is a little bit of a train emerging right now. They've all, it's the perennial accordion, Sam. They've all compressed up again to one another. And other than Cope, he's really just checked out now. 1.7 seconds. I think this is going to be a moment-defining part of the race.
And Cope didn't look dominating in his heat, did he? I mean, he was being caught by the 3 cars behind him. Velgert might get past your Tortoise here, but wasn't willing to commit to it. So quite surprising that Cope has got the pace to pull away, but some of his main rivals have, of course, been involved in incidents already, and, I think Madsen might have the pace to keep up with Cope, but right now he's got Marriott right in front of him, unable to pass right now. Top 3 in the Pro-Ams, Utortus, Bertslanger And this man, Corey Lazarus, great to see representation from down under. It's a very early Saturday morning, but with this race starting half an hour later than usual ARL events, it helps those guys ever so slightly. So yeah, probably only the 3 coffees needed in order to race up here tonight.
It's summer, Sam, so nice cold beverage undoubtedly.
Yes, probably, yeah.
Oh, nice,
Iced tea.
summer's morning. Yeah, iced tea. Or for the brave people, and maybe a couple of morning beers to get yourself in the spirits for a morning of sim racing. Nicholas Knowles setting the fastest lap of the race last time around. I mean, that's ridiculous.
It's not just the fastest lap, but it's the fastest lap by 0.4 of a second. He was a second faster than Maxime Marriott that last time.
I mean, that's just filthy.
He's going to be onto the back of Vatzik by the end of this race if he can keep this up. I can see Noel getting... Well, I know, it depends what happens in front of him, but he'll catch up, and he's got a very clean car after that nightmare of a start, which, honestly, was partially his fault. He went wide at turn 1, he went wide at turn 2, and then he made contact at turn 4. It was an absolute mare for the pole sitter. Apologies, for the 4th place man on the grid.
There we go, against, not seeing that as against our leader. He's taking that even more time as, well, seeing this scrap continue. So, you asked for them, here they are. Let's take a look back to the start, see how everything unfolded. Initially a great start from Roberts, looked like he was in control of it, but gets up into Druid, gets squeezed wide.
He just kept on going wide into every corner. Went wide through turn 1, there he goes, wide through turn 2, a little bit of a shove to be fair from Cope.
Nothing too bad, he's back onto the track, so...
And then watch out for Nold, who's the car behind, so I think Nold goes to the inside here.
Let's take a bit of a look, Sam. Let's take a look in real time. So, right, he spins, nudges Roberts off, and, well, it's already happened there.
That's Madsen just going past Marriott, by the way, on live picture, so you can keep an eye on that in the bottom corner. But it's quite appealing to the eye as well.
This is the Mortala.
It's just a...
No, so you thought maybe it was Roberts rejoining. It wasn't, Sam. Look, it happened all before. Well, just, they hadn't even arrived at the scene of the crime before it's being all happening in front of all this contact there.
Oh, your Torts is dropping down. That is Vilgut's past. And can Higgins get underneath as well? No, your Torts holds on. But in all of that, Madsen has been able to move up into P2, Burke up into P3, and Marriott has dropped from 2nd down to 4th.
Torts needs to be careful because there's less cars now between himself and Furtwängler, who's at the tail end of this group. Every chance of catching up. And then we've got the secondary group as well. Samuel Jordan onto the grass there in a bit of an unusual way. Doesn't lose too much time. Strom getting past Lazarus.
Yeah, Jordan and Lazarus made contact there, I think, so Strom picking up the pieces.
Up front. Just starting to calm down a little bit. Or is it as
Del Piccolo? Also, I mean, any other season, I will say, Del Piccolo would be in nomination for Name of the Season, but this season the competition is such. I'm not even sure if he makes it into the top 3. Incredible competition. Velgut losing that place then to your Torta. So he worked so hard to make that move, and then I think he must have made a mistake. Yeah. He lost 0.7 of a second in the final sector. So he's got to do it all over again now on the Prime.
Look back from Mario Valgert, Higgins, Haber, Furtwängler all queuing up to have a go at him.
One of our Aussie listeners, by the way, I think, saying can confirm is hot and I'm on coffee.
Well, coffee free.
Coffee free.
Precise. Never have too much coffee, Sam. Iced coffee? Or what did they say? Apparently, having hot drinks cools you down better and quicker than having a cold drink.
There's so much more than base in the esports commentary on this channel, isn't there?
There is. It's educational.
You got that type of stuff as well.
And useless information that will get you through your day and fill in those awkward moments stood in a lift. Timothy Kowalik heading after Aidan Young. Young's on a bit of a, well, I mean, definitely benefited from the cacophony of collisions, should we call it, earlier on. He's up 9 places into 10th, and I think top 10 result definitely got to be a happy place for the pro driver. Matthias Burke is really starting to feel the pressure for Maxime Marriott. And let's not forget, Marriott was in second, but has now fallen behind these. Well, has fallen behind Madsden and Burke, and equally, Madsen's getting away. Well, Cope is just, he's bossed this one. He has controlled it, Sam, since he got ahead. Strom's just lost a couple of places, interestingly. I think so, he's skirting off track.
Yeah, I think he collided with Lazarus, did Strom. As Velgert's got past Wilhelm, Utortus, apologies. Can he make the move stick? It seems like Utortus is going to lose a couple of places here. He's trying desperately to follow Velgert's round. He also hold on against the driver on the outside, which is Higgins. I think a better position here for Utortus, but Higgins is going to try it, but he's off the circuit. Was there contact? I'm not sure. It didn't look like there was, but the way that the car reacted, it did look like there was contact.
Exactly, Sam. Exactly. The contact says to me there was. Well, I'm sure we'll find out from the replays shortly. Does mean though there's a bit of a change around though.
Well, Philip Hammer, if he can make this this move, he would have certainly nailed this A final. Tim's not reacting whatsoever to that one.
No, I'm trying to find come back with a better one, but you've beat me there, Sam. You've beat me with a hammer.
Well, he's got a good chance at passing Utortus. After that fantastic qualifying, of course, the second fastest qualifier of anyone, Utortus has not had the same race pace, but we know how good Utortus's racecraft is. We've seen it many times in ARL GT3 Trophy. Very experienced driver, one of the most experienced drivers when it comes to Apex Racing League participation out on the grid. And he's just maximizing it. Madsen has made a mistake though. From an easy P3, you saw the smoke, and he's back down to P4. Oh, Nick, what a drive it had been to move up the order from 8th on the grid up into 2nd, but he's let it go with a couple of laps to go.
It's all falling apart, hasn't it, for Nick Madsen of Mag Performance SRT. Sam, he was just sitting there comfortably, just realistically, as we were heading inside the last 3 minutes of this race, just needing to bring it home. Now all hard work to do. Marriott back off onto the podium in these closing stages. And all while this goes, just blissfully unaware. Well, to an extent, I'm sure he would have spotted it in his relative, but Cope bringing this home. After this lap, he'll have 1 lap left to go.
And I think the most mature performance of the evening surely goes to Thomas Cope, as Nold has got past Lazarus, Nold up into P14. He has caught that a group after setting probably being the fastest man out on circuit for recently. But yeah, Cope, he hasn't felt like he's ever been pushing at 100%. Cope, I think he's always had a little bit to spare. And obviously he's been a little bit fortunate with some of the incidents that surround him, but a really mature performance from the guy.
Sam, the interesting one for me is the victory in Pro-Am. Furtwängler and Utortus. Marriott and Madsen swap places.
Where
he's lost a bit. He's falling right down.
Safe rejoin. Yeah, it's a safe rejoin. It's all good. 8th position. Young has actually had a very good race, by the way. Young up 10 places, and he will not be far away from gaining 11 places, because Marriott, I think that must have been a self-spin, I imagine, has gone from the podium down to 8th. Oh, it's now Young's having to go defensive, so Marriott's going to have some relief here. Kovalik, who's really been in the wars in this A-final, constantly being surrounded by drivers in front and behind, he's in this fight as well.
So I'm hearing apparently that Marriott and Burke got into one another, and Marriott came off worse. Well, now it's looking like 8th from what was the podium. White flag in the air, 1 lap left to go, 1 last set of opportunities to make an impression. No, Powell, cool.
He doesn't like that corner. I think he spun there on lap 2.
Meanwhile, up front, well, it's this battle for second that's playing out right now, and a big send up the inside from Madsen. Can he make it stick? Can he get it done? But Burke holding on right around the outside. They almost touch wing mirrors on the exit there. They definitely do. Down through Pilgrim's Drop. And this could be tasty into Hawthorne's Bend. No, they sort themselves out. Madsen tacks back behind Burke. It's advantage Burke here, Sam.
Burke's made a couple of enemies in this race after that contact with Marriott before, and of course the contact with Pascal Costa as well in race 1. Right now, I think him and Madsen will be on speaking terms. Let's see if they will be come the end of this race.
2 attempts, all but separating those two. Thomas Cope is going to hop home. He'll win this one by a canter at 6 seconds clear of the field. Wow, looks easy for him. Wasn't necessarily a great drive from the Brit of Olympus Esports. Who's going to get second? It's going to be a race to the line and pulls out the last second. Burke takes it over Max and Volga. Yatortis holds on to 5th for the winning Pro-Am. Hammer 6th. Bert Wangler 7th overall. 2nd in Pro-Am. Marriott in the end has set up at 8th. Young 2nd, joint 2nd highest place climber. We have Darracott. We've up 10 places. With Samuel Jordan running at the top 10. Biggest place gainer, Lars Vartzig. He was up 12.
Yeah, Vartzig really went under the radar, but yeah, casually got P3 in the Pro-Am category. Really good effort there from the German driver. Yeah, a podium of very established hero drivers. We've got Kate, GT3 Trophy champion, Madsen, Porsche Cup champion, and Matthias Berg, who's been racing in Apex Racing League for a good 2.5 years. So, yeah, experience perhaps paying truthful there. And, well, what a start to the season. I think, if anything, there may be more questions posed than answered.
I think you're right there, Sam. I think you're right. Let's take a look through your results right now. Cope winning from Berg. Madsen. Sam mentioned your podium. What a podium to start off the season. Vargert in 4th. Yatortis, your winner in Pro-Am. Hammer in 6th. Third Wangler 7th and 2nd in Pro-Am. Marriott 8th with Young and Jordan rounding out your podium. Then it's Higgins, Karolik, Lars Vartzig 3rd in Pro-Am. 13th overall, Nold, Lazarus Dipicolio, Darracott, Kuttrup, Ansel, and Ed Eisenring running at the top 20, and also your top finisher in AM. We weren't sure if we would have any AMs that make it through to the final. We've had 2 at the first attempt, really setting the bar early on for the AMs. We come out Afonso, King Scott, Chalet, Hugensdorn, Strom running up the top 26. The last drivers on the lead lap. They're into the retirements of Roberts, Koss, Kleinecht, and Costa. All retirements ran at the 30-car field. Well, let's take a quick ad break. We're back on the other side where we chat to some of our drivers and try and just unpick some of the great action we've seen and drama that we've seen here today. We'll see you shortly.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Welcome back, and well, it was definitely the big one, as it's called in NASCAR, that made the big difference here today at Brands Hatch, Sam.
Yeah, that was a pretty big one. 15 odd cars being involved.
Yeah,
We've seen it.
Shape or another. I mean, some made it through, some didn't.
Yeah, and it was just it seemed to be a case that just a few drivers got a little bit slowed up on the corner exit, already running maybe 2 wide, get a little bit slow, becomes 3 wide, and then just a couple of cars seem to make door contact, a little bit of an iffy kind of contact by iRacing, sending one into the wall, bouncing them back into the circuit, and then once you're in the middle of the circuit round, a very narrow track like this, when you've got so little visibility with lines of cars or rows of cars in front of you, nothing you could do. Fast fair for a few of the drivers able to get back out there, but yeah, it was a disappointing start for a few of them, but the ones who got through were able to really take big advantage.
And well, Thomas Cope made the move early on, and then, you know, got a bit defensive as well not long after that, and just sort of shrugged everyone off and just gave himself that little bit of advantage. And I think it was about 6 attempts, and that's what made the difference, because it just gave him just that little bit of a gap, just enough to then be able to start pull it out and, you know, come on away and take victory here today.
Yeah, it was a really impressive performance from him. I think, if anything, his heat was more impressive because he had about 3 cars chasing him down all the way, and he had to hold on really strong, put a couple of defensive maneuvers in there and to also hold on to the lead. So it was, yeah, just a very mature performance from him, and I think we can have a chat with him
I was going to say, should we have a chat to Thomas Cope? Thomas, welcome along. First of all, congratulations. As Sam was saying there, during, you know, the final, you looked dominant, really assertive, but during the heat you were being caught a bit. What what was the difference between the 2 races that was causing that?
It's just a mindset. Obviously, heats. You just want to make sure you're finishing yourself the best chance, but mindset wise, obviously you want to push more pace in the feature and do better, so that's ultimately what it was.
And then obviously you made the overtake, you know, got to the front, you then got a bit defensive, and I was just saying to Sam, you seem to shrug everyone off, and that seemed to be the difference. I mean, once you pulled out about 6-7 attempts, do you feel a bit more comfortable, or did you know that from the quality of drivers behind you, you had to keep pushing, and sort of how do you sort of maintain that cool from that point forward?
100% had to maintain cool and just worry about the guys behind. I mean, everyone up at the front of the field is quality drivers. Some really fast drivers behind that didn't even make the final. So really, it's just getting ahead, and when they started fighting behind for P2, it really helped me just pull away and just focus down and keep my head forward, keep the consistent pace, but not fast pace, but consistent enough to stay ahead and keep pulling away when they were battling.
Well, Thomas, congratulations on the victory, round 1. What a way to start the season. Good luck for next week. Well, Sam, you were saying just that mindset was all the difference between the 2 there, and definitely a driver that thrives on confidence, and what a way to start the season.
Yeah, it was really good, and yeah, He's got that mindset. You don't need to win necessarily the heat, you don't need to pull away.
He's proved
just
it
did
there
what
very
he
well.
needed to do, and it was a great result for him. It was a great result as well for our 3rd place finisher in the A final, Nick Madsen, who joins us in the interviews now. Nick, can you hear us all right?
I can hear you, yes.
Excellent stuff. Well, it's yeah, really good to see you score that fantastic result tonight. Take us through sort of the racing out there. I mean, was it as tricky as you expected to overtake around Brands Hatch, or was overtaking possible, because you made it possible?
I was not so happy with my qualify. I expected at least a top 3, so I knew it was going to be hard from that point. And in first heat, I tried to get more that I wanted, and that made me make a little mistake when I was P3, which made me back to P4. And then I tried my best to get closer to the guys in front and try to make an overtake. But Brands Hatch is really difficult to overtake. It doesn't seem like in the final race, but yeah, it's kind of tricky, and the guy you're overtaking actually has to give up the position, kind of to not get involved in an accident, something like that.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. With the narrowness of the circuit, yeah, certainly a lot of give and take. You seem to have a really good race-long battle with Matthias Berg. Take us through sort of the manoeuvres that you pulled on each other, including the final lap.
Again, as I said, in final race, I had the comfortable P2, and I was trying to put a little bit of pressure on Thomas in the front, and getting over aggressive, that caused you some mistakes, and I made a small mistake onto the back straight, which cost me back to P4, and the moment after, was it Pascal? No, the guy in front drives into the back of Matthias, and get out of the race. And I knew I had more in my car, so but I also kind of burnt my tires a little bit to catch up to Thomas. But when it was the last lap, I was kind of close enough to him to send it before the back straight, but Matthias doesn't want to let me just overtake and hold the outside, and I was trying to pull back after the back straight, but I had nothing more in my tires.
Well, it was really good to see you guys go out there, and hopefully we see much more of that for the rest of the season. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Nick?
You guys. I'm really happy to be back, and I really love racing here. And with a couple of years out of Apex, it's really a pleasure to be back. So thank you. Thanks for a great broadcast.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for the kind words, Nick, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Nick Madsen, there, your third place finisher, and one of the favourites for the title. I mean, it's good to hear his confidence in that qualifying. You wonder if he'd nailed qualifying, could he have maybe won the whole thing tonight?
You do have to wonder, but I think if you look at it from a positive perspective, it's a solid start to the season. If you coming into this round, if you told him, you're going to be on the podium, I think he would have taken that. But it's that feeling of what could it have been. But I'll tell you what, talking of the podium, although not on the podium overall, should we talk to our winner in Pro-Am, Harold Tortoise, joins us right now. Well, congratulations, and not just for the result, but equally the way you took it to the pro drivers. And so there may be arguments that you should be along in the pros after that display today, as much as I'm sure you want to remain in Pro-Am.
So thank you so much. I understand the arguments that you mentioned, but if I'm going to the two pros, Dominic has to go as well. He was
you take him down with you.
Almost a second faster in the first heat race on race pace. So I might have had a great quali lap, but he's even on a higher level than I am.
Oh, definitely. But even so, I mean, first round of the season, you couldn't have asked for much better. And talk us through those sort of opening stages. I mean, especially of the final, there was a lot going on around you, in front of you, behind you. Just how do you try and remain in that sort of mindset that you try and stay out of trouble and position the car? Because it must be a real challenge when, like you said, there's a lot of fast competitive drivers all around you, and then obviously there's incidents happening left, right and centre.
So what definitely helped, I did 15 or 20 races during the week, official races. So I had a lot of experience, and basically what that taught me is, just try to stay clean, do not make any mistakes, don't even try to go for any moves. And I broke this rule, but I was considering not even defending, but at the end, I guess couldn't stop myself from defending my position.
Well, that's completely understandable. And well, just looking ahead to next week, obviously we head across to America. How are you feeling about that one?
Not very confident, but I'm sure. So I'll have again, I'll dedicate some at least time for officials. I'll learn the track. I did what is it, Virginia, right? So
That's right.
I
Yes.
I did that track maybe a couple of years ago, and maybe one race when it was renewed. So not a lot of experience, but I'm sure I can get a decent pace there as well.
Well, I'm sure you'll be fine, and well, we'll look forward to seeing you. That's your winner in Pro-Am, Haradas Utortus. He's on a bit of a flyer, and it did make me laugh. It's like, well, if you're making the argument of me going it's a pro, you need to bring Tom Roberts with me as well. I mean, those two. I mean, shame for Roberts as well, but I mean, just showing how competitive this field is. The fact that Pro-Ams can take the fight to the pros in that manner.
Yeah, it's really not a big difference, and yeah, those two seem super impressive in that category. And yeah, really positive for Haradas. A lot of drivers aren't going to be confident at VAR, so I'm sure he's going to be up there no matter what. We've got a interview once again with Aidan Young, who now joins us. Aidan, congratulations on that result. Well, what an A final for you. You were absolutely storming through the order.
Thank you. Yeah, what was going through my head, I was just thinking, I want to survive. And it was kind of scary the first few laps, because I saw the wrecks. I'm like, I thought I couldn't avoid the first one, but then I saw the open space on the grass, so I just took the grass, and then a couple guys behind me followed me, so that was a little sketchy, because the way they both came across the track, I thought I was going to get wrecked there. But I somehow miraculously made it through that, even with that big of a crash.
Yeah, you really took advantage of that instant, and yeah, did a fantastic job at managing to avoid it. How was it racing in the Porsche Cup? I mean, have you been able to do much official series racing around this circuit? Because it's not an easy combination.
I actually haven't done any officials since the last special event.
Wow.
Except for one little LMP2 fix race around Detroit, because I love Detroit and I love LMP2. But I also really love Porsche Cup, and they compete in this series, the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup, with all of these really fast drivers. It's really cool, but it's also really hard because you have to you can't. I don't really know how to explain this, but you have to be on your A game every lap, and if you're not, you're gonna get passed and you're gonna lose positions because just how quick everybody is and how close the field is.
For sure, yeah, there's very little kind of tolerance for mistakes. You're absolutely going to pay the price if you do commit one. Of course, tomorrow we've got the Formula 4s, which you're part of. That's at Virginia. And next week in the Porsche Cup, we've got Virginia as well. Is that an advantage, or do you think, if anything, it can be a disadvantage to have to learn a circuit in two different cars?
Well, I wouldn't really know how to answer that, but I'll try. VRR is actually big track-wise, like actual race tracks. VRR is my home track in real life, so I know that track really well, and I've had a lot of help with it. Like my dad has a friend who used to race there a lot, and he still goes and races there, so he's helped me out, told me some things to do. But then I have a lot of laps there in the Formula 4, and I'm not too quick, but I am pretty quick, enough to where I can get low 47s consistently each lap, which I think is a pretty good time. And if you can get into the 46s, then you're really pushing.
Yeah, well, I'm sure tomorrow you're going to be at the front. I'm sure next week as well you're going to be near the front with that experience. Aidan, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yes. I would like to thank my team, No Limits Sim Racing. I'd like to thank Alex Richardson, who's one of the owners, and the other owners as well. I'd also like to thank the sponsors, Glitch Energy, Gamers Apparel, and Joe D. Valet, for just supporting the team, and then the team for supporting me. I'd also like to thank my friends for watching and cheering me on today. Today was a hard one because I was actually while racing, I was driving with a basically sprained neck, so it was super hard for me to keep my head up and look straight.
Well, it's
So I appreciate all their support.
yeah, well, it was a fantastic effort tonight, Aidan. Really good start to the championship for yourself, and yeah, best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Aidan Young there, one of the youngest drivers in the championship, but well, he navigated that incident at the start really impressively, and that unlocked a fantastic result for him.
It did. Just right place, right time. You know, got onto the grass to avoid the incident, as he said there, and got lucky with the iRacing ice-like grass that it didn't kill him. Well, should we have another chat to? I think we've got one more driver left to have a chat with, and I'm joined by Alexandre Chalet. Well, shall we just put this to say it's been an eventful final for you? I think is just an easy way to put it, a nice way. I mean, I mean, just talk us through that opening lap from your perspective, what you saw and how it played out for you.
Well, first of all, I would say that I'm quite happy with the results I had in the end, because it's my first season at the Apex Racing League, so I wasn't expecting to be on the final at first. And when that start happened, and I saw that people on the turn at the end of turn 4 were crashing into each other, I was like, okay, just stay cool, stay safe, and it's gonna be fine. And at first it went fine. I was into the inside of the corner. I wasn't doing anything too greedy or aggressive or stupid, so it was going good. And I saw an opening on the left side, but I didn't know there were already 3 cars on the right side. So when there was another contact from the car on the side of me, and I got pushed wide because of that. When that happens, I tried to be as safe as possible. I locked my brakes. I tried to not move and be predictable for everybody else, but yeah, crash happened after that. I saw a car flying.
It's one of those things, isn't it? We were saying earlier where it's just being in the right place, right time, and luck quite often playing a large part of it. And, well, obviously looking forward, something more positive potentially. Virginia International Raceway next week. Bit of a, what us Brits call a Marmite track. It's something you either love or somewhere you either hate. Which camp do you sit on, and how do you think you're going to get on?
Honestly, I do like the track. There are not a lot of tracks I don't like, to be honest. There are some tracks where I'm kind of afraid of, maybe because I'm bad or because it's of the dangerousness of the track. For example, Nub, that is coming in the 8th round, or 8th round, 8th round. And this is one kind of track I'm most afraid of. But for Virginia, I think I would just need to put practice and time into the combo like I did for this week, and it should be fine.
Just quickly, you said there's some tracks you love, some you don't hate, something you hate. What's your thoughts on Daytona?
Oh, well, Daytona is a pretty cool track. Depends completely on the kind of cars that you take, honestly. I've always driven Daytona with prototypes. So
I mean, it's definitely not a boring track, is it, at all?
No, it's not.
Right answer. Alexandre, I'm going to get on incredibly well with you all season. My co-host Sam Fitzpatrick thinks it's boring and hates it, so that's say no more on that one. So he's sat here, his head in his hands, shaking it as well. Well, congratulations, especially as it's the expected result. Good luck for next week. We shall see you then.
Thank you very much.
I think that's well, we'll unpick the show, but that's pretty much a good bombshell to end it on, wasn't it, really? That he doesn't think it's boring, Daytona.
Yeah, check out the Apex Racing TV, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook page. You'll have to scroll a little bit there to find the 24 reasons why Daytona 24 is not a good event. And there he will change his mind, I'm sure. But VAR next out, that is a good circuit. I really warmed to VAR, and I think that'll be a fun one.
For me, it's one of those tracks. It's like Hungaroring. You know, it's great fun to hot lap on, but it's probably because I'm awful. That's why I'm not the.
I did one
Winter
F4
Series
race round there earlier this week. If you have anything like the racing there, we're not going to have many drivers finish the race. So I'm sure these guys are a lot better than that field. We should be all right on that front. But you're right, racing around there can get narrow.
It's all about that exit out of, well, do we still call it Oak Tree?
It's still Oak Tree. It's still called Oak Tree.
It's gone now. It's finally gone in iRacing, having been struck by lightning and disappearing many moons ago in the real world. It's gone now. It's all about that long, long stretch up to roller coaster, and wow, just getting adventurous on the brakes there. Although there are other opportunities, but well, it's definitely going to be interesting. But final thoughts for today?
Yeah, just really fun. I think we've got a super competitive field. I think we're going to see 5 or 6 different winners, honestly, across the season in the overall, let alone the Pro-Ams and the AMs. So just a competitive field where no one has really put their mark on it. I think that's what we wanted after that.
Yeah, it could go any which way, will go anyway. And as well, we've got clear cups for you next week as well, on just before the Porsche Cup show. I mean, that's going to be entertainment in abundance. I can feel it in my waters, Sam.
And you can sign up, of course, at apexracingleague.com. Join the 22 drivers who have already signed up. Yeah, we should have a good 30 or so on the grid. So if you want to be part of that, do join apexracingleague.com. Link in the description below. And you can join our Discord as well. See any other series as well.
And if you just not tired of your racing, want to see some more action-packed heat format series racing, make sure you tune in tomorrow night, where it's the Apex Racing Academy F4 series. I'll be in the commentary booth for that one. Fortunately not from the glorious setting in the studio. I shall be back at home for that one, but absolutely epic action from the previous round at Road America, if there's anything to go by. But wow, drama, excitement in abundance, and as Sam said, no one's put their stamp of authority on this series, so we're just in for a great season. And with Cleosto at boot, it's going to be even better next week. I've been Tim Cox with Sam Fitzpatrick. Thanks very much for joining us. Good night.